Acres Steakhouse.
Hold the Mayo. It's time for Mike Mayo's Lunchbox. Find out what's being served with Mike, Defo and Lubie, the only show that covers food, sports, and the proper maintenance of your car. And now, a man who had the distinction of having an entire health clinic named in his honor, Mike Mayo.
I want the flim flam sauce with the awesome fave, with shafafa on the side.
Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to another edition, another week of Mike Mayo's Lunchbox. We're starting the week off at home, recovering from a big weekend of eating and revelry. And we welcome, as usual, Mike Lubie Lubitz below and Jeff Defo DeForest to my right. Defo, how you doing? You were missed yesterday at our big brunch bash. And again, kudos to Joe Beja, the whole crew there at Gulfstream Park. Man, I think we had a total of, it was about 55 people that showed up. And 30, and most of them were paying, which Joe Beja, to his eternal gratitude, was like, yeah, you actually brought people that paid this time. This is great.
It's a novel concept. You pay for advertising and marketing, and that actually works, brings some customers. No, I wish I could have made it. I mean, it's not hard to talk me into going to Gulfstream Park for a freebie brunch in the 10 Palms. But I pulled something near my Achilles last Wednesday playing tennis, and it flared up and started to affect the rest of my foot. Same foot I had the problems with, but different problem. And yesterday was at its worst. So schlepping from the parking lot up to the 10 Palms would have been very prohibitive. And I think it was beneficial that I stayed off the feet yesterday because I'm a little bit better today. So that's good.
Well, that'll be a lesson to you for any strenuous exercise. I think at this, stuff
happens. You can't shy away from it.
Walking is good, but when you start getting into things like, running, twisting, moving, and tennis, pickleball, I don't know. I was watching some funny clips over the weekend of the old Louis C.K. Show on FX, and sometimes that he would go to the doctor. That was very brilliantly played by Ricky Gervais. And when he's, Louis would describe various aches and pains and saying he pulled it doing this, and Ricky Gervais said, no, at this point, you can't do anything. You're just a bag of bones. You're just it's a point, and there comes a point in life. But you want to be vibrant. I'm vibrant. And I've got good news, Defo.
Yeah.
I stepped on the scale this morning, and
down 10?
10? No, I'm down 5.
That's good.
That's
good.
5,
Nice.
5 and 10, not 10 and 5. I'm down 5 pounds in 10 days since I've been to the doctor and eating more sensibly.
That's a
and being on some
promising
medication.
start.
I'm not on Ozempic. I'm not on any of these new generation drugs. I am on something that's been curbing my appetite a little bit. And but over the weekend, it did not curb my enthusiasm for eating at all. I went to a lot of different places, had a lot of good meals, but I just ate, less carbs, more protein, and again, limited the number of meals, and there wasn't continuous snacking. And so I'm happy to report that I won't have to resort to the Skyline chili diet that I sent you the reels. Could you believe that?
That was a beauty. I mean, if anybody should be on it, it's you, especially since it worked for the guy. That's like believing, though, that Jared lost 60 pounds eating Subway sandwiches, please.
I think what happens
he's eating 9 Subway sandwiches a day, and never mind the pedophilia or whatever it was he was found guilty of. But, you're supposed to believe he lost 60 pounds and a giant, he had those pants that he would spread out, and he barely fit, you could fit 10 of them in there. And supposedly he lost that eating Subway sandwiches? You got to be kidding me.
I think there are certain foods that if you just keep eating it constantly, repetitively, your body eventually rejects it and just doesn't absorb any of the calories. Lubie, do you want to recap this reel showed what the guy did? I guess.
Well, I just thought it was interesting that he was eating it 3 times a day. I don't even know that they're open in the breakfast hour.
Breakfast, imagine.
He was eating.
I'll have a 4-way for breakfast.
I guess he was stocking.
You've done that though, Mayo, with the frozen stuff.
Get the frozen stuff. You could bring home cans. You could also bring home to go and just store it in the fridge and nuke it for breakfast. Okay. So this guy, somebody sent me a reel through a DM.
Did he puke up half of it every day? Is that why he ended up losing weight?
So there was some guy out there that, of course, filmed it and put it on Reels and TikTok. But ate nothing but Skyline Chili or Skyline Chili products for a full week. 21 meals, 7 days, 3 meals a day. He racked up his calorie consumption was 30,000 calories. I think he mostly did it through the stuff on top of the spaghetti, maybe a couple of those Coney hot dogs thrown in. I don't think he had any chili salads or the chili burritos that they make, but the tally at the end of the week, the guy said he took long walks every day. So there goes, the walk of life does have its virtues. And the guy said the amount of time he spent on the toilet led him between the walks and the other bathroom visits. He ended up losing 3.1 pounds after eating 30,000 calories worth of Skyline chili in a given week. I am not going to follow that regimen because I don't think, number one, that either one of my doctors, especially my cardiologist, would approve of that. Number two, I don't think my internal plumbing would approve it. It would go into full scale rebellion. But who knows? It's once it just rejects everything, you could lose some weight. I'm doing it the old fashioned way though, Defo. A little bit of exercise, a little bit of sensible eating. And little by little, all right, am I going to be under 200 pounds by June 17th? Probably not. But by September, with slow and steady progress, maybe I will be in a much better place, both in terms of my physical health and, well, I don't know about my mental health. That's probably beyond salvation at this point.
Good luck.
Anyway, so among the highlights of yesterday's Brunch Bash, and again, Joe Beja, Tommy P, Charlie, the whole group at Gulfstream took great care of us. The omelet lady missed you. I did hit her up with a $5 bill in her tip jar. You know who you also missed there, Defo, was one Natalia Rose Mayo. Did not have to work. My daughter showed incredible enthusiasm when she did not have to work this weekend. And I said, do you want to come and hang out with us? And she said, yeah, would love to. It looks like a beautiful day. So not only did Val...
Things have changed since you did that college tour.
Yeah. Oh, no. She realizes time is limited, and she's got to get on my good side if she wants that steady stream of non-employment income to keep coming.
Dad, I got to buy books.
Exactly.
So it's she has been very nice to me, but it is very, very pleasant to have her. And she sat right across from the lovely Rose Segredo. Tony and Rose were there, and they got to chat with my daughter. It was nice to see them. We did have some fans that were clamoring to see you, Defo, particularly one Trisha Morrow. And I don't know if Trisha is on watching now, but she is a past contest winner. She is also a fierce handicapper who has been in the hat 5 times. She finally got picked and was able to redeem her prize yesterday. But Trisha Morrow said, after listening to all your crap about women and gambling don't mix and women can't, she said she had a fully marked up racing form ready for you. Nice. She was going to stick in your face and say, here, this is what my picks of the day are. Let's go head to head, mister, and see who ends up on top.
That wasn't my line, though. That was Andy Byer. Women and gambling don't mix.
But you seem to...
It was the opening line of his book.
I know.
Yeah, so...
You seem to embrace it a little. You kind of say,
But he also said his dream would be a woman that could read the racing form. And Trisha came up to me and she was like, oh, sorry about Defo. I was looking forward to meeting him. I'm the rare woman that can read a racing form.
Yeah,
like, that would be my dream girl,
man. And it was great because... let's get this past week's contest winner out of the way. We'll announce that it was Stephen Eckert won this past contest winner. And the beauty of me picking the Knicks-Sixers game as the tiebreaker was that it was on Saturday evening. It concluded by like 9 o'clock. And when I tallied it up, Stephen was among 6 people that had the winning horse. That was number 1 in Saturday's 5th race. I forget the name of the horse, but the number 1 horse, one of the logical choices, might have been the favorite. And of course, the restaurant this week was Sage Bagel Cafe, a place that we love, close to Gulfstream Park. And with the Passover holiday beginning tonight, we were thinking of all kinds of places that had Jewish delicacies. And Sage Bagel was the restaurant. A lot of people had that. One person put pumpernicks, which, I don't know why they would go there when I was giving all these other clues. But Sage, the restaurant, number 1 was the horse. 6 people had the horse. 1 person chose the Sixers. 5 people had the Knicks. 2 of them had him by 3. 2 of them had him by 4. Stephen Eckert had it by 5 points. Of course, the final margin was 7 points. If that half-court heave at the buzzer was actually good, it was off a little bit late. But if that one fell, it would have been a two-way tiebreaker and a hat shake today with 4 points. But instead, it was 7 points. Stephen Eckert won. I notified him at 9:30, and he said, is it too late? We can come out tomorrow. And I was like, that'd be perfect. So he became, a late entry, a contest winner. 8 contest winning, winners and their guests came out. So we knocked off a whole bunch of, contest winners that were hanging out there in the bin. And it was also great to see our friend Ken. I guess his name is Ken Rosenthal, right? And
Yes.
he sent me one of the great quotes that I don't think I've ever heard, Defo. I always love a good kind of degenerate gambling joke or quote. Let me know if you've heard this one before. It's from the Golden Age movie Tough Guy, George Raft. I don't even know who George Raft was. Does that name ring a bell?
Classic actor, yeah, very famous.
Yeah?
Yes.
Well, was he he played like a certain type? Was he like an Edgar G. Robinson?
Big time, yeah, I would say, yeah. He always played like a type A male.
Okay. Well, apparently he amassed a large fortune, about $10 million back in the day, which, is quite princely sum. And, but apparently he blew it all. And somebody once asked him how he did it. And he says, well, part went for gambling, part went for women, part went for wine. And then he says, the rest I spent foolishly.
Very similar to a line by the soccer player George Best.
Yes, that's why I know that quote.
Yeah, who said he spent half his money, wasted it on this, half on that, or a quarter on that, and the rest he blew betting on the Knicks.
No, but I love the fact. Yeah, part went for gambling, part went for women, part went for wine, and the rest I spent very foolishly. That's the kind of how I feel about sometimes my fortunes. I did not cash a ticket yesterday. That was a grim, very grim state of affairs. I've been getting split and beat up all year. Maybe I'm going to have a big derby to make up for it. We could always hope. But again, great to see everybody out there yesterday. And again, congrats to Stephen Eckert.
Yeah, congrats.
The most recent contest winner and all the contest winners who came out yesterday and had a great time at Gulfstream. Beautiful day. And Val's brother crushed it. He did the smart thing. Recently retired. It was a table of 10. It was various relatives visiting. Her sister's visiting from France. She lives in France. She had some other friends, and but her brother John just went by the old, choose a name that kind of resonates with you. And he actually had a bunch of money on that number 12 horse that was in, I believe it was the second or third race. That was somewhere in the neighborhood of, what was it, 60 to 1? I don't know. The horse came back like $125, and he had 2 across the board, and that got him going. And then he had a horse that ended up he ended up keying another trifecta for 300. He walked out of there 5 sticks to the good, so that was good for him. So
I like that. It seemed like people were really in the spirit. It's one thing I'll give. I was focused on the Heat getting annihilated and the Panthers at least in a dogfight. People were really getting into it. And Tony's wife is impressive. She's sitting there with the forum the whole time.
Oh yeah, Rose
more than Tony. Tony was interested, not interested. She was all in. She's like, what about this race? What about that race? What do you think? I was like, geez, good for her. The people were really educated. They were a lot more into it than I've ever been into the races. And I've been going for freaking years. Like, it was actually impressive to see how into it everyone that was there. Like Blanche Maines, she was the whole time. She was going to Steve the guy. Most people ask, how do I do this? How to do that? She's, hey, Steve, here. I'm like, geez, Blanche, okay, good for you.
Steve, the roaming ticket puncher. I love those mobile ticket punchers. You don't even have to leave your seat there. It's very convenient. But yeah, she was shouting out part wheels and all that stuff. And, we had that kicking myself moment of the day. All right, I sit down at the table. I don't know if you were there yet at that point, Lubie, but Tony is there. He's going through his little programs. He spots that later in the day at Santa Anita, the great race place, that there was a horse entered named Johnny Padres. Now, old time sports fans, you know who was Johnny Padres?
Great pitcher for the Dodgers. That horse
And
has been running for a while.
wasn't he on the receiving end like the day that Don Larson pitched the perfect game in the series? Wasn't Johnny Padres the losing pitcher and also pitched like a brilliant game? Or maybe
I remember Padres as a Dodger pitcher.
Yeah.
I think he was with the Dodgers maybe his whole career. I want to say that.
Yeah, so Don Larson
for other teams, yeah.
No, but Don Larson.
Padres might have been a losing pitcher.
Larson with the Yankees pitched the perfect game in the 55 series. Johnny Padres was on the losing end of that.
Good trivia
day.
question there, Mike Mayo.
So again, when Tony spotted that, he goes, "Oh, I loved Johnny Padres." And of course, later in the day, after I'm all tapped out, I'm back home and I'm looking up, I just went to this, I was kind of leafing through different results at different tracks. Sure enough, Johnny Padres wins for fun, $35 for the win.
Ooh, big price.
Wow, good for him.
Tony and I were just like, oh, how stupid can we be? All we had to do at the beginning of the day was like throw down, $10 win place on that horse, and at least we would have been out for the day. But sometimes that does not happen. Anyway, so anybody have any good eating stories from the weekend? I did a lot of eating Friday night and Saturday daytime, but I'll first defer to the floor, or we could preview Passover. Lubie said you've got stuff coming up tonight, right?
Tonight, tomorrow. I actually will double down on a place Defo talked about a few weeks ago. My cousins hail from the West Coast, they're north of Tampa, but we say Tampa, but like the Newport Richie area. And they have families. And one of them came down with his wife, his 3 kids, and they're staying out east. They're actually staying. I wish I had known. I would have set them up at the Teak at the Ocean Manor. I didn't even think about it. They usually stay out west by us, but I guess they wanted to like make it sort of a beach vacation because they got down a couple of days early. And they're staying right by the Ocean Manor. And I'm like, shoot, where do we go for because everywhere we go is great places, but they had kids. My sister has her 2 kids who are raving lunatics. They have kids that are good kids, but they're still kids. And I'm like, where the hell do we go on a Saturday night with kids? And I'm like, if we're out west, there's a Bonefish Max by me. I'm like, oh, shoot. Defo, Bonefish Max out east. So I was like, I actually, I had something out east at Ken's house. So I was like, you know what? It's not far from where he lives. I'm like, let me stop in and just see, because a lot of the time they don't do reservations, right? So I didn't think it would matter at all. But this even goes to further than what the credibility Defo gave them. Like I walked in, the lady at the front was like, let me get the manager. I'm not going to be here at that time. I'm like, okay, that's helpful. The guy, Nick, comes up, and I remember his name because he was great. He's like, I'm like, it's gonna be like 14 to 15 people, like a nightmare, right, on a Saturday night. And I knew it. I do the show. I'm aware. I was expecting nothing. He's like, oh, that's okay. I'm like, okay. He's like, let me get your name, the table size, your phone number, and the time. I'm like, he's taking this really seriously. I'm like, I thought I was just gonna get rebuffed. I'm like, okay. And I give him all the stuff. He's like, you're good. I'm like, so you're gonna hold it 14 people at it was like 6:30 to 7 on a Saturday night. Like, yeah, no problem. So we got there a little late. My cousins were already sat down with my sister, with the kids. They were already being served appetizers, and the kids were in the game room, and everything was seamless. I'm like, holy wow. Like, there was no issues. The server was great. There was no bitching, no moaning. The kids were running around like loons, and no one gave them an eye. Like, they didn't mess up any of the orders. Like, it was actually impressive. I've gone out with just Shirley and me and have more issues than we had with 14 people.
Nice. So let me ask you this. Do you now feel inclined to go running out to the Let's Eat group and sing the praises of a place that actually did everything right? Or do people seem to only want to do that when something goes wrong?
I've met people that do the good. I was talking to some people when we were out this weekend because of the experience I had in the Dominican Republic. My sister-in-law, I guess is your favorite, a Yelp Silver or Gold, whatever the hell they call
the Yelp Elites of the worst.
She goes for good. She goes on there and talks about the good she has. So I'm like, I give you credit because I suck at that. Like, I should go on Let's Eat. Maybe I will.
You should right now. Just 2 paragraphs and say, hey, just a shout out to.
I don't have any pictures of the food though. I don't know if you need pictures and all that.
Pictures are not a requirement, just words, but pictures.
Well, it was a great experience. Like Defo talked about it about a month ago. They are so great with kids, and they're really good at being amenable, which is something we've talked about all the time when it comes to restaurants. And I love the place, and we go by me, but I didn't think they'd be that open to it, and they were. It was eye opening at how cool a place can be when they're really good and take hospitality seriously.
No, and again, there are certain places that are just geared towards, kind of family friendly, big groups, can handle things on the fly, even on a Saturday night. And those places are few and far between. So I say it is worth you
Yeah, it was
giving them a shout out. And then if you do know the manager, maybe tell them about this show and ask about if they'd be interested in becoming a sponsor.
I'm not
That's a
against
shameless.
but we legitimately like the place. Like all the crap.
Yeah, no, it's
really
good.
like. I'm telling you, they do a really good job. Like it was really interesting to see how they handled everything. And again, doing what we do, I overwatch stuff now that I never would, and it was actually impressive. Like the kids are not easy to handle, and no one around us batted an eye. I was like, okay.
And that's great. And I think I have definitely loosened my elitism through the years. Tomorrow we're going to be doing a show at our newest sponsor, Stromboli Pizza Kitchen out the Fountains, which to me, it's a place that's been there since 1987. This guy Nick, who's been the owner for the past few years, they serve a niche, which is affordable, family friendly pizza, pasta, red sauce, Italian American. And it's not trying to be anything fancy. It's just a place that you're going to go in and you could get your great Monday night. You get an extra large pizza. I think on Mondays and Tuesdays for something like $16.95. I mean, you can hardly get a slice for that at some of these freaking bougie places in Miami now. So I realize now, especially in this day and age, that there's a time and a place for everything. And I appreciate the Bonefish Max of the world. Obviously, I've appreciated the Shenanigans of the world for a long time. Texas Roadhouse, some of the chains. So, I like to think, yes, I still do have my, foodie bougie tendencies, which obviously came out in full force on Friday night when I had this fantastic meal at this new J&C Oyster in Hollywood. And again, went with a great couple, the Stockers, who I worked with at the Sentinel a long time. They're photographers, both of them. Sue took a lot of great pictures, and I posted again after having this wonderful meal. I think J&C Oyster is one of the best restaurants in Broward, and it's only been open not even a month yet. And paid my own way, much to the disbelief of a lot of people in the group. I mean, I don't know where do they get this impression, Defo, but I do pay. You should see my credit card bills. I pay a lot all over the place. Thankfully, Val pays a lot too. So, these people think I'm just walking in and the king of the schnorrers just because we have a lunch show built around a free lunch. I guess I got to just.
It happens. I mean, it definitely happens. Actually, it definitely.
At night, sometimes they throw me an extra dish. But you know what? I can't live my life worrying about the haters. I guess that's it. Hey, let's get towards our first break. And you know who I saw out at the track yesterday, who was not part of our group, but he was like 8 tables down, and it wasn't Joey Esposito, and it wasn't Pat Utter from Shenanigans or Cafe Seville, but one Joe Studiali, the son of Jack Studiali, grandson of Sam Studiali, and Sam and his lovely wife Jill and a couple of the bartenders from Tropical Acres, Nick, and the new bartender is Tony. They were having a day at the races, and they were out there at the table enjoying themselves, and they saw the big group that we had out there, and it was just great to see them enjoying themselves at the track. And I guess, Joe knows that his grandfather was a big fan of the races, right? He sponsored that Day at the Races show or Today at the Races show. And Tropical Acres, again, it's got that great old school vibe. Loved seeing them out there. And Tropical Acres is the place that you're going to want to be in the upcoming weeks, because we've got obviously the end of stone crab season, which will then be going into the beginning of the twin lobster special season. That's going to be happening after Mother's Day. And don't forget Mother's Day itself, Sunday, May 12th. They do still have availability, Joe told me. You're going to want to get in the reservation book right now. Give them a call, 954-989-2500. You see the number on the crawl on your screen there. They are open from 1 to 8 p.m. that Sunday. Again, they're usually open on Monday through Saturdays, and you could go in there tonight. Half price wine night. We love half price wine night. Get some great deals on beautiful bottles, along with the happy hour in the bar, 4:30 to 6:30 Monday through Friday, and all the great delicious dishes, seafood, which I am now much more prone to ordering, and they do a great job with some of their snapper and scallop dishes, along with the classics like the prime rib and the filet mignon. Tropical Acres, 2500 Griffin Road in Old Dania Beach and Fort Lauderdale. Tell them the Lunchbox sent you.
All right, coming back with more Mike Mayo's Lunchbox in a moment.
From a scratch kitchen, delicious drinks and house-made spirits from a craft bar. A great vibe inside and out with a spacious patio. I'm talking about Batch New Southern Kitchen and Tap, Fort Lauderdale, in the heart of the city at 525 North Federal Highway. It's open 7 days for lunch, dinner, and weekend brunch with classics like fried chicken and waffles and shrimp and grits, and creative items like pecan-crusted salmon and a fried green tomato BLT. And the drinks? Smooth sipping and so good. There's convenient free parking and a garage next door, happy hour at the bar, an entire patio, 4 to 7 Monday to Friday, and live music every Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. It's pet and people friendly and with cozy fire pits for when the temperature dips. For reservations and more information, go to batchsouthernkitchen.com. Hey, it's Mayo here for Delaware Chicken Farm and Seafood Market. Since 1951, for over 70 years, the home of freshness. I've been a customer for over 3 decades, and it's the place to go for poultry, steaks, meats, and of course, their unbelievable selection of fish and seafood. They've got it all. Key West pink shrimp, grouper, snapper, lobster, and of course, Florida stone crab claws of all sizes. Don't forget their famous fish dip and a full selection of prepared foods. It's located at 4191 North State Road 7 in Hollywood, just across from the Seminole Classic Casino. Doug Carter and crew will take great care of you. Make sure to check out their weekly specials and daily catch online at DelawareChicken.com. Quality, value, freshness, that's the Delaware way. Tell them Mike Mayo and the Lunchbox sent you. If you like seafood in a comfortable setting, outdoors, even keel fish shack at the corner of A1A and Commercial Boulevard in Lauderdale by the Sea, and also now with a new location on Las Olas Boulevard. Those are my spots. Upscale food and a down-home setting. The chef owners, Dave and Brad, do a terrific job with all the seafood classics that you want. They have the best grilled oysters in town, bang bang shrimp, lobster rolls, and deli fish specials. They also have weekend brunch Saturday and Sunday. They have deli happy hour 4 to 7, and they also have other weekly specials like mussels on Monday and oysters on Tuesday. Go to Even Keel Fish Shack and tell them that the Lunchbox sent you. Prezzo Italian Restaurants, 2 locations, Boca Raton at Park Place on Military Trail and Palm Beach Gardens in the PGA Commons on PGA Boulevard. Contemporary Italian cuisine with house-made pastas, wood-fired pizzas, salads, veal, chicken, and of course their famous focaccia bread with oven-roasted garlic bulbs. In Garlic We Trust is their slogan, and you can trust Prezzo for a great experience with gracious service and tremendous value. Open 7 days, featuring brunch, lunch, dinner, and happy hour. Great wine deals and full bar at both locations. For reservations and more information, go to eatprezzo.com. All right, we're back on the Lunchbox. It was a great weekend of eating for me besides the Gulfstream 10 Palms brunch and the new J&C Oyster in Hollywood experience on Friday night. On Saturday, took a little road trip with Val. We went down to Kendall, and it's a place that had been on my radar for a while, and I was so glad I finally made it to Smoke and Dough, which I don't know if that jogs anybody's memories here, but Smoke and Dough, a place that was first written up and touted by our friend Carlos Frias when he was at the Miami Herald as their food editor, but then got national recognition when the place was included in a New York Times top 50 restaurants in the U.S. that we love now list, and that came out about a year ago, like in June of 23. And after that, it's kind of really become a mecca of, it is a barbecue joint, but they also do some interesting Miami things like empanadas, and it's this truly lovely couple. It's Harry and Michelle Coleman. Now, Harry Coleman got his start not in a kitchen, but actually in the sports department newsroom of the Sun Sentinel. And I don't know if you remember this story, but he was a journalism major at FIU. His father owns a bakery that's still in North Beach of Miami Beach, like in the 70s in Biscayne. But Harry, at one point before he came to his senses, thought he was wanted to be a journalist or maybe even a sports writer. And back in like 2004 and 5, he was an intern at the Sun Sentinel sports desk and sports department. And he befriended a couple of people. He says he knows Scoop Skolnick pretty well. He knows Dave Hyde. Chandel Richardson, a mutual friend of ours, along with some of the desk types, was Craig Davis, who first wrote up his visit to Smoke and Dough a year ago. But anyway, it was great to finally get down there. And let me tell you something. For people, this is what I hate. People who go in on the group and they say, there's no good barbecue in Florida or fill in the blank. Let me tell you something. I mean, I've been to Texas. I've been to Austin. It's been a while. But these guys at Smoke and Dough, Harry takes his barbecue and smoking seriously, and they put together an array of smoked meats that would rival anything you get out of the hill country of Texas or the Austin area. I mean, it was phenomenal, and so major props to them. We had again, they do these interesting things because besides doing the smoked items, and they do pastrami on Saturdays. They do this pork belly, like a what's the pastor style, which is like a smoked pork belly with the roasted pineapple. And again, I'm getting really soft in my old age. I used to oppose any kind of fruit or sweet things on my savory stuff, let alone pizza or meat. But this pork belly al pastor, like smoked, sliced, beautiful, was, I think, even better than the pastrami and the brisket. And it was just like I had to check myself at the door. I was like, I can't believe I'm digging this product. Everything there was phenomenal. It is right off the turnpike, maybe like 5 minutes to the west of the 41st Street exit off the Florida Turnpike. And again, they also run a cafe that has empanadas of all varieties next door. That's kind of like a morning afternoon thing. And then the barbecue thing is on, they got that running. I think 5 days a week. I think they're closed Mondays and Tuesdays. And but again, they get a nice crowd in there on the weekend. Saturday happened to be 420 day, so there was a lot of people in there with rather large appetites for reasons that I don't fully comprehend anymore, because I've given up all that, Defo. But great, tremendous stuff, and what a couple. I mean, it's good stuff.
Sounds like a good place. You always see that debate about the barbecue. Everybody wants to get Memphis barbecue, authentic Memphis barbecue. I've seen compliments for a few places that you wouldn't have to venture that far south for if you're in Broward County.
Oh yeah, there's some good spots all over.
People, as much as some of these articles start out or threads start out very negative, you can't get any decent barbecue. You see people coming to the defense of and recommending a number of places, and I would imagine it's all very good.
Here's the thing about barbecue. There's so many particular styles, and each of those styles has a product that they're known for. So like Carolina is known for their pulled pork and chopped pork. And you have the place, the Dixie Pig, and also the Georgia Pig. And that's known for their pulled pork. The Georgia or South Carolina style is with the mustard sauce. The North Carolina style at Dixie Pig has the vinegar sauce with those hot pepper flakes. You can find that here. Okay, I don't know if they have any good brisket or ribs at those places, but their pulled pork, chopped pork sandwiches are fantastic. Same way, Memphis-style barbecue means a dry rub on the ribs. You get a fantastic dry rub at Smoke Barbecue near Galt Ocean Mile in Fort Lauderdale. Smoke also happens to do a mighty fine brisket and house-made pastrami that they brine start to finish. Smoke and Dough, they also brine their pastrami in-house, and it started as a once-a-week item. Now they produce enough of it where they only serve it hot, sliced by hand on the smoke board once a week on, I think, well, Fridays and Saturdays. But they offer pastrami sandwiches, like the Jewish deli style pastrami sandwiches, every day. And again, you can find everything. Tom Jenkins has some of that good kind of St. Louis type sauce, the tomato, kind of a sweet tomatoey sauce. That's of course, Jenkins has been a longtime favorite in Fort Lauderdale. And you're right, Defo. I mean, go up to Palm Beach. My friend Tom Rodemeyer has Pigsty Barbecue in Boynton. Mr. Lee's Barbecue is a truck that's going to have a brick and mortar by the end of the year. It's in the Delray Beach area. They've been racking up all kinds of accolades and awards. And there's a guy named John Pumpjack outside the West Palm Beach area that's kind of like, he does a home backyard cooking, but he sells to the public that you can come in and pick it up, or he'll even deliver it. So there is no shortage of excellent barbecue around. It's like anything else. You just got to know where to find it. And if you just ask on Let's Eat, you will probably get some good tips. So that's what it's all about.
How was it received? Because we actually have a decent, you guys are talking about it, barbecue culture. I feel like Fort Lauderdale, West Palm, Miami, you don't hear a lot about barbecue in Miami, even though you would think a lot of the Caribbean styles can lean a little bit that way, honestly, with the porks and the beef and the chicken.
Well, you have a place
there. Like,
there's a place near Pembroke Park. It's actually South Broward, but I forget what it's called. Chef Tally's. It's got like this huge Army field base operation. It's like all these trucks and smokers. And it's like a Caribbean jerk style smoking and barbecue, but he has some of the most fantastic jerked pork and jerked chicken, but it's smoked. So it's like a, real deal barbecue with a, Caribbean accent. And you mentioned, yes, in Miami, for a long time, it was just one of the two places. There was Shivers down in Homestead, and the one that's near I always forget.
Shorty's. Legendary joint.
I grew up with Shorty's.
Yeah, people love that. And again, that's kind of, just our
Kansas City,
Florida style. But
don't forget Juliet, Licky Sticky. I haven't heard him mention.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
OJ McDuffie is never going to speak to you again, my friend.
I am remiss.
Yeah,
I need to get back out there. Of course, we did the show when she first opened.
Stuff was great, man.
That was
unbelievable.
Sunrise next to Lubie's alma mater at Piper High, and she has great.
Did you see the statue of Lubie out there, Piper High? He's a great representative of the school and the higher education that they were able to.
Yeah, he actually got a master's degree. They are very, very proud of him. They should give him another.
Yes, they did that.
Yeah,
I forgot. I feel like there's a place I'm forgetting.
Yeah, Licky Sticky, Chef Juliet, done a great job out there. Again, that I would be called. There is a style of, you could call it Black American, African American. The out of the drums on the side of a road and the parking lots and churches, and of course, that's a huge thing in our area in Pompano Beach. But Juliet has been selling at these weekend farmers markets at parks for years, but now she's got her own place, and we had tremendous stuff out there. Everything we had was pretty darn good. But when you talk about kind of like the Caribbean Miami style, so that's what I didn't really mention. Smoke and Dough is doing that in the way of they're doing brisket, but with a cafecito rub. They rub coffee on it. They are doing some of the things that they do have a Latino edge, like they do a smoked pastrami inside a it's not a croqueta, but it's I forgot to call it tequeña. I think it's like a stuffed pocket. It's kind of like this dough of really. It's kind of like you remember the pigs in blanket, but much better, higher quality dough. But it's like wrapped around pastrami and the like kind of white Latin American, South American cheese, kind of like queso blanco, and it's fried up with the smoked pastrami, and that was a delicious appetizer they had there. And again, that pork, they do it with a couple of these different chili rubs on it. It gives it that kind of Latin Miami flair. there's a place called Apocalypse Barbecue now that is all the rage, that is also doing coffee rubbed ribs. And that was at the Visit Lauderdale Food and Wine Festival, their barbecue battle night. You remember that, Lubie? You had those coffee rubbed ribs from Apocalypse. I still haven't made it there yet. That's also in South Miami, and that's blowing up. And a lot of people compare Smoke and Dough to Apocalypse because they're also doing the similar style, using some of the local flavors on classic Texas and other techniques. But yeah, it's all there. There was a Haitian barbecue place that was in business for a while in Little Haiti called Bon Goat Barbecue, Bongout, not the gout that Defo sometimes has to deal with, but Bon Goat. But it recently went out of business. I don't know why, because it was pretty popular for a while. But that Haitian barbecue place is no longer around. But there's still plenty of places that are spinning off proper technique barbecue with local flavors. And I think everybody needs to open their eyes before making ridiculous blanket statements of you can't find good X in South Florida. Needs to be aware that you can. You just have to know where to find it. Hey, let's talking about knowing where to find something. Delaware Chicken and Seafood Market. It's not too late. Passover Seder is still about 5 hours away. Sundown tonight about 7:30, and you could go in there and get that marvelous gefilte fish. Here's a shocker, Defo. I posted a picture of that gefilte fish from Delaware this morning on the group, and I just asked about, can you eat gefilte fish? Yes or no? Jarred, house-made, homemade. The thing got over 400 reactions and 150 comments. People are going crazy over the gefilte fish. So I guess you're not the only one.
It has a very.
it just happens to be something. It has nothing to do. The Delaware Chicken Farm variety looked fantastic. If I was ever inclined to try it again, I would have dug into some of that, even without your generous $100 offer to go and eat the whole thing. But I just remember as a kid being so repulsed by just the sight of it that I don't think I'll ever dive into a piece of gefilte fish again.
These things
maybe
happen.
I'm being foolish, but,
and
I can live without it.
I was a little, non-forgiving, but I understand now because our friend Tom T, I think I saw him on here today. He posted.
He doesn't eat it either. He eats
no. I was talking about calf's liver and onions. He posted a picture. He made this beautiful looking plate of calf's liver and onions with this beautiful looking sauce and gravy. But I am repulsed. My father used to love calf's liver, and sometimes my mom would fry it up in the kitchen, and I still can't get that smell out of my mouth.
Liver was fairly common, part of the rotation of food that my mother used to make. And actually, I do remember going with Denny's when I first moved to Miami. I was down actually in what is now South Beach, but then it was kind of a rundown version of God's Waiting Room. And I remember ordering the liver and onions. I went out of my way to order that at a Denny's, and it wasn't half bad.
And it's
but I don't eat. I wouldn't be inclined to order it now. That would be something I've totally struck off the menu items.
The odd thing for me is that I love chicken livers. I love fried chicken livers. I love
you like that
chopped
stuff,
chicken liver. But when it comes to the beef liver and onions, the beef liver for me is it's just filled with that iron minerals. It just tastes metallic to me, and I can't.
After watching a lot of episodes of CSI, though, and they got some guy's liver,
Exactly.
they're looking at it in an autopsy. I just don't have any desire to eat organs like that.
It's the texture thing. It's a texture thing.
But it was very tasty. I mean, and smothered in anything smothered in onions, pretty much.
Onions and
you
garlic.
You could probably smother gefilte fish in onions and get me to eat it.
But Tom's, I would actually try it. I would try a bite of it. But again, it's just one of those things. Calf's liver and onions. But getting back to the topic at hand, which is Delaware chicken. Their chicken liver. Again, my brother has been dispatched. He's going to pick up reinforcements with the fresh gefilte fish and chopped liver for tonight's Passover Seder, which is going to be at my house. I'm getting some brisket and other things at our friends at Grandpa's. I'll be over there after the show, picking it up from our man Clive. But Delaware is the place to go for, not just like the Passover Seders, but for any weekend, any home gathering, any kind of event that you're going to be doing. Graduation season coming up. Why not pick up a bunch of stuff, both prepared and throw on the grill for the graduate in your life? Again, Delaware Chicken Seafood Great display of meats, poultry, the house-made sausages, and of course the fresh, fantastic seafood and fish selection. Stone crab season. I can't believe we're down to the last 8 days. Get in there now while the crabs are good and plentiful. And it's at 4191 North State Road 7 in Hollywood. They're open 7 days a week. You could call in advance or go online to see the full offerings. They'll still do a curbside delivery for you. Delaware is the place to go for the for the freshest quality selection. Go there. Tell them the Lunchbox sent you.
The Acres doing anything for Passover? Can you go count on Jack? No, nothing.
Stewie Alley's, maybe.
I bet if he made gefilte fish, it would come out, right on a level there with Delaware Seafood Market. They're fantastic.
A nice piece of broiled salmon, and I imagine a baked potato is kosher for Passover, right?
All right, coming back with more Mike Mayo's Lunchbox in a moment.
When the Brooklyn boy in me wants a good bagel with Nova or some matzo ball soup, homemade knishes, or a great deli pastrami sandwich on rye, you know where I go? Grandpa's Cafe in Dania Beach. It's been around a long time, an institution, but a little over a year ago, a pair of New Yorkers came in, bought it, and refurbished the place. It's beautiful, and they are now serving great breakfast, brunch, lunch. They've got the omelets. They've got eggs Benedict. They've got all kinds of great baked goods like rugelach. Grandpa's is just off Federal Highway on Southwest 1st Street in Dania Beach. It's open 7 days. Go in there, tell them that the Lunchbox sent you. When people come to me and say, Mike, where should I go out to eat? I got guests coming from out of town. Where should we go? Cafe Seville. That's the answer. 2768 East Oakland Park Boulevard. It's a Fort Lauderdale perennial, serving the finest in Spanish and continental cuisine in a cozy, friendly, comfortable setting. Joey Esposito and Sally, his better half, they've been running the place for a long time. It's been open since the 1980s. They got great Spanish classics like paella, shrimp with garlic sauce, and all kinds of great seafood dishes. The stuffed veal chop, that's my favorite. Go to Cafe Seville. It's open every day but Sunday at 5 p.m. for dinner. Tell them that the Lunchbox Mayo and Defo sent you. Do you like burgers? Do you like wings? Do you like late night food and sports on big screen TVs and cold beer and friendly vibe and great people? Then you want to check out Shenanigans, 1300 South Federal Highway in Dania Beach. Go to Shenanigans, you get yourself all the good stuff, the fresh fish every day, the black and grilled wings, and of course the kitchens are open late. Go there, tell them that the Lunchbox Mayo and Defo sent you. Style slice. How about lunch specials for under $9 that come with garlic rolls and a fountain drink? I'm talking about Stromboli Pizza Kitchen in the Fountains of Plantation, 801 South University Drive. Since 1987, it's been home to Brooklyn-style pies and slices, heroes and paninis, pastas, and all your Italian-American favorites. It's got the unpretentious vibe of the pizza places of my youth with daily specials, family dinners, outdoor seating, eat-in, carry-out, or delivery. Open 7 days a week. Go to strombolispizza.com to place your order today. All right, we're back on the Lunchbox. It is the first night of Passover, the first of, I believe, 8 days. Do I still pass the test? Am I somewhat of a knowledgeable Jewish person? And I guess the Seders are the first 2 nights.
Yes.
And the last day of Passover is also considered one of those like religious holidays that you should take the day off of work. Wow, Lubie's making a face. You're the good.
Yeah, we do the first 2 days, and we break the fast, quote unquote. You know, when you
when you can eat bread.
We used to go to like an Italian restaurant because then you could get every form of breaded meat, noodles, and bread. Or before that, we do Beverly Hills Cafe because, as anyone knows, until Texas Roadhouse, they were like the favorite roll, like the one place they bring out the rolls. My mom would literally, if we weren't eating there, stop there, pick up rolls from there to eat on the way to wherever the hell we were going. So yeah, but I remember going to like services or I don't know.
No. I mean, but there are some people who will go to synagogue, but I guess, it's a lot of people who are observant, besides the Seders, they don't work or don't go to school those first 2 days of Passover. Anyway, so it's tonight and tomorrow night are the Seder nights. And I'm sorry, Lubie. Tomorrow we're going to be at a pizza parlor. I'm good because I'm restricting my carbs, so I won't be stuffing my face with garlic rolls and pizzas and calzones and heroes and paninis and pastas, although maybe a couple of bites here and there. Of course, I am not the most observant. I am what you call culturally Jewish. That means I kind of pick and choose what I want to do. But we were having a discussion beforehand about kosher wine at the Seder table. And Defo, apparently, Lubie's telling me that the world has gotten a lot bigger and better than just the plain old 4 cups of Manischewitz.
Manischewitz was undrinkable in all reality. I don't know if they have anything other than the common stuff that kind of came in a square, bottle there, and the grape and the cherry and all of that. I mean, it was great to guzzle it when you were a kid and you were running around the temple there, and before the people raided the sponge cake. We'd cop a couple of bottles of Manischewitz and get high on that like it was Yago Sangria, but in reality, I mean, that's some pretty tough stuff to drink.
I want to know what has a higher sugar content: a bottle of Manischewitz for Passover or a package of Peeps for Easter.
You could just be guzzling Mountain Dew, and you'd be better off than drinking Manischewitz. That's for sure.
The only way I could tolerate Manischewitz is if you make a spritzer out of it. You pour a can, or back in the day at my when we had our family seders, and you'd have the big blue bottles where you actually spritz. Manischewitz spritzers were pretty good. You had to dilute the stuff.
Not quite like an
bleach.
Aperol spritz.
10 parts seltzer to 1 part Manischewitz, and it was tolerable. But Lubie, you were telling me that you've actually gotten some decent kosher.
It would be better to strain Aqua Velva through bread and drink that than a bottle of Manischewitz. Nothing against the Manischewitz brand. I mean, they make a great matzah, but the wine leaves a lot to be desired. You would have to say that you rarely see a sommelier recommend to go with your seafood dish, a little Manischewitz.
So, and this is where I got to pay homage. Now, Lubie is too busy cracking up. He said that there is going to be some kosher wine that's not Manischewitz tonight that they get from Italy or something.
My parents used to do a white Zinfandel that was kosher Passover. That wasn't that much better than the Manischewitz. And then I don't know where. I guess my mom found this years ago. Here. I actually. Bartenura, and they literally show the boot, and it's called Italian wine.
Okay.
They do a Moscato, and on the back of the bottle it says kosher for Passover. Literally says it on the bottle, so it is kosher for Passover. It's a Moscato. So look, if you're my wife and her family still wouldn't be fans of it because it's extremely sweet, but when you're Jewish and you've been drinking Manischewitz or Magen David and whatever the likes for decades, you are giddy to get something that resembles wine. So it's actually very nice.
Okay.
We've done it for years now. And every place, there it is. Joe Beja, of all people, knows, of course, Mr. Joe Beja.
Of course.
Artenura, and it's solid. And they said when Dixie has it, Publix has it, all these other places have it. And I went yesterday actually on the way to Gulfstream and picked up the bottles that we're going to be having tonight. So I'm really, really excited for it. Because it actually, as Passover goes, again, who's had.
Yeah, my brother is bringing the wine tonight. He says he found a bottle of kosher for Passover wine that's a red. I think it's a Cabernet. It's not supposed to be too sweet. So I will withhold judgment until I sip. And I'm not going to have 4 glasses or 4 cups of wine as prescribed in the Haggadah because, again, I am cutting back. I'll have 4 sips of wine tonight. But I'll let you know how it is. Our friends at Primo's Liquors. It's funny. When I went into one of their shops, had a full kosher wine section. And again, I don't know if kosher wine by its very nature is kosher for Passover or if it needs an additional blessing and certificate. But a lot of their kosher wines came from Israel. And the Negev Valley has apparently some good, really grown up in terms of the wine growing regions. And of course, some wines from, like you said, Italy, Yugoslavia. I think some of the, those Croatian wines and maybe Lebanon even has some. Well, I don't know. I don't know about Lebanon.
I don't know, but I know Joanne offered up. So Joe brought up like 5 different wines. I'm like, okay, well, I know now that there's.
Yeah.
This is a big industry. The
Yeah.
kosher wine area.
There's a big
Wine
segment of the population that does keep kosher and kosher for Passover, and yeah, so I would imagine, like everything else in the food world, we're not willing to settle for the crap that swill that we had to drink 50 years ago. And again, it's a wonderful world out there that you can find all kinds
I'm
of great
excited.
stuff. And I'm reminded of family. We used to have these big Seder gatherings at a cousin's house in Long Island, Oceanside, the Siegel family. We had 50 of us from our cousins club, and I miss those days. But I'll be having a nice little family gathering tonight with again my daughter, brother, sister-in-law, Val,
That
and
will come. Nice.
yeah,
That's
yeah,
great.
she's coming, and she is well versed in the way of Judaism because she used to work at a kosher deli when she was growing up. And she grew up in Miami Beach. She worked at a place on Arthur Godfrey Road. I forget the name of it, but it was she said it was a Jewish delicatessen. I don't know if it was a kosher delicatessen, but anyway, she'll be coming over, and it's also a meaningful day. I gotta say hi to Dad in heaven. It's his the 5th anniversary since his passing. I can't believe it's been 5 years since Brooklyn Bobby. He was a good eater, and I miss him. But yeah, 5 years ago today. It's also Earth Day, and Jim Sarney says, "Go plant a tree." And I said, "How about eating one?"
Jesus.
How is
man.
Sarney? Is he coming around?
He is coming around. He's in
All right.
rehab. He's back home. He's got some home health aids. He's still getting on the mend. He was one of the contest winners, but he could not make it out. I think he says his doctor has forbidden him from eating any kind of buffets or any kind of food other than like mashed potatoes for a while. He might bequeath his contest victory package to somebody else. He said there's been a couple of like either nurses or aides that have really been doing yeoman's work, and he wanted to reward them and maybe
I don't know
give
what
them that
means.
package.
I don't want to know what they've done to earn this.
I imagine sponge baths are involved.
I mean, it got all the way up to my floor that Sarney was downstairs throwing orgies while he was in there waiting for his stent to be put in. And he didn't want to leave the place. He was in there for like a month longer than I was. It was pretty incredible since he came in feeling good.
Yeah. Speaking of orgies, I heard some things, but I'll keep that for off the air. Some internal industry gossip. Okay, so we got to take our final break. But before we do that, our friends at Batch New Southern Kitchen and Tap, they are coming off another big weekend. I was communicating with Kevin this morning. He relayed a disturbing. He wanted to post something on Let's Eat, but it was going to open up a Pandora's box and involve a little bit of politics, a little bit of something. So I just kind of put the kibosh on it. But I invited him to come on the show one day to talk about it. It's actually a disturbing incident where somebody came in and had a great experience, loved the food, but took issue with the fact that he has an Israeli flag displayed at the front desk in solidarity with the Israeli people after the horrific terrorist attacks of October 8th. And this person wrote him an email last night saying they would never set foot in there again and how despicable it was for him to display an Israeli flag. Now, again, that's
American ally, whatever your religious stance or wherever we are now, because everyone's all over the place now. Both parties are weird. They're an ally.
Yeah, but again, like everything in the Middle East, everything is fraught with symbolism, and you might perceive something some way as, yeah, Israel has a right to exist, and some other people might say, well, what's happened with Palestine. I don't want to get into it all now. It just raised an issue of like, here's a person who had a great experience, had good food, kind of like me and Regina's farm, and they try to bring in all other things, and somebody puts up a little display that's just meant to show solidarity, the same way that there was American flags everywhere after 9/11, and then it gets totally misconstrued and turned into all kinds of things. But anyway, enough of that. I did invite him on. I figure it might be an
we love to have it.
topic one day. He said he was tied up in meetings all day, so he could not do it today. But at some point in the future, again, I kind of always find it fascinating how and when people feel either obligated out of some sort of moral or their own principles to display certain things in a restaurant, or maybe lay bare their political allegiances, or even some places that have certain things on the TV, whether it's Fox News or MSNBC. To me, we live in such divisive times where nobody could just like live and let live and say, all right, well, this guy likes to watch Fox News, I'll still eat here. Now they say, oh, I'll never set foot in here again. I don't know. I just draw the line of, do I like the food, and do they serve everybody, and do they treat their employees and guests well, and that kind of stuff. But how I ended up from a batch live spot to this, I'll never know. But I do want to tell you.
Well, at least the guy liked the food.
Yes. Well, how can anybody not like the food? They do such a great job there, especially their weekend brunches. I love those drop biscuits, and especially when you have it with the sausage gravy, the great fried green tomatoes with the spiced shrimp, eggs Benedict, and going there during the week. I mean, all those great dishes, the jambalaya, the shrimp and grits. We've been there enough times now that if you haven't been yet, you really should get there. 525 North Federal Highway in Fort Lauderdale. They've got free parking in the garage right next door in the apartment complex on that side street. They are open 7 days. They have a live music Wednesday through Friday nights. They have the Whiskey Wednesdays and some whiskey education classes, all their great bourbons, some of the stuff they have that they actually produce in-house, that peach infused bourbon and all that they use in the cocktails. Great stuff, great people, philanthropic. Their hearts are in the right place. Go in, show them your support. Batch New Southern Kitchen and Tap in Fort Lauderdale. Tell them the Lunchbox sent you.
Passover edition of Mike Mayo's Lunchbox continues in a moment.
Gilbert's 17th Street Grill. You know me, I love family-run places with quality food at fair prices, served with passion and pride. And that's why I love Gilbert's. For more than a decade, Lenore, Beth, and Richie Gilbert have been serving up the best burgers, wings, ribs, salads, and desserts. It's a fast casual spot. Everything prepared fresh to order from an immaculate open kitchen. They're at 1821 Cordova Road in Fort Lauderdale in the Cordova Shops just south of 17th Street. Open every day but Sunday. One of my favorite burgers in South Florida. Big, round, juicy pucks of 100% Angus beef, char grilled to perfection. And don't miss the sweet potato fries on the side. They're legendary. Go to Gilbert's, feast, and be happy. Tell them the Lunchbox sent you. When I'm looking for some wicked good food for a wicked good lunch, there's only one place to go. That's Wicked Cheesesteaks in Fort Lauderdale. It's at 4824 North Federal Highway, just south of Commercial Boulevard and across from Holy Cross Hospital. My friend Brian there, he will hook you up with some really tasty treats. They've got cheesesteaks, just like the best you can find in Philly, along with lobster rolls, because that's where he's from, Maine originally. And they have wings and pizza and everything you want to have a really good time. Wicked Cheesesteaks, they're open every day but Tuesday. Check them out online, wickedcheesesteaks.com. Tell them the Lunchbox sent you. If you're looking for a great place for steaks, seafood, and more, go to Tropical Acres Steakhouse and Butcher Shop. It's at 2500 Griffin Road in Dania, just west of I-95 in the airport. They've been there a long time, since 1949. That means they're doing something right. You'll get old school hospitality from the Studiali family, along with great value, tremendous service. Of course, you could also go into the bar for happy hour every day, 4 to 6, and they have great value all night long. Also, a butcher shop that's open every day from 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. except Sunday. The dining room is open every day at 4:30 except Sunday. Go to Tropical Acres. Tell them the Lunchbox sent you. An exquisite sushi experience. Kaizen Sushi Bar and Grill in Fort Lauderdale is the place to go. 5640 North Federal Highway, just north of Commercial Boulevard. Chef owner Hui Lam, he's a sushi savant, slicing and serving pristine fish and seafood flown in directly from Japan and around the world. Nigiri, sashimi, special rolls, and omakase dinners. He's ruined me from going anywhere else. It's that good. Open 7 days for dinner and also for lunch. Even if you're not a sushi fan, they have great cooked options, including steaks, chops, rice and noodles, and other Japanese dishes. It's fantastic. For reservations and information, go to kaizenflorida.com. Tell them Mike Mayo and the Lunchbox sent you. Delicious Mexican food with innovative twists. Margaritas with a medley of tongue-tingling flavors. I'm talking about Taco Craft, Taqueria, and Tequila Bar. The place to go on Taco Tuesday and every day. It's located at 510 North Federal and Highway in Fort Lauderdale, and also in Lauderdale by the Sea at Plantation Walk, and soon in Coral Springs. Taco Craft has specials every day, including bottomless drinks for Sunday brunch and Taco Tuesdays with their $4 premium tacos, including their new burrito tacos with bone marrow broth. Oh, it's so good. They've even made a taco lover out of me, and they've got so much more, including fajitas, that open-faced smashed cheeseburger tortilla that's new, and a guacamole sample that's an explosion of flavors. The kitchen is open late. There's delivery and takeout. For more information, go to tacocraft.com. Tell them Mike Mayo, the Lunchbox, sent you. All right, we're back on the Lunchbox. We're out of time. We didn't get to a lot of topics today, but I do first have to mention our friends at Visit Lauderdale Food and Wine Festival. We've got the 954 Burger Month coming up in May. It's National Burger Month, and it's also Local Burger Month. For the first time ever, Broward restaurants are getting in on the action. 954burgermonth.com is the place to go to find out all the different events and participating restaurants. Our friend Burger Beast, Seth Gonzalez, will be throwing and hosting a number of events, starting with the kickoff event May 1st at Lauder Ale, which is a great microbrewery there near the port and the airport, one of my haunts. And there'll be a burger truck and all kinds of burger happenings that night. And I believe we're going to be doing a live show. Lubie and I will be going out there at about 6 or 7 p.m. on that Wednesday evening. Defo's invited, but definitely not required to come on the overtime, because we'll do another show that day earlier. But May 1st, May 19th at our friends at Gilbert's, they'll be having a big Burger Month event that Seth will be there. And that is a ticketed event also. Go to 954burgermonth.com to get all the info and the tickets for Burger Month. It's going to be great. All right, Defo, you got any Seders on tap? Or
No Seder ceremony tonight, although I do enjoy a good Seder. And I'm wishing everybody, is it appropriate, a happy Passover?
Chag Sameach.
Yeah.
I guess that's something that you say. And enjoy the 8 days of matzah and constipation.
Nothing like being, an observing Jewish person.
We'll be going the nothing but matzah and unleavened bread.
I always used to dig that, though. I'm a big fan of the matzah, although I don't know. I mean, when you brought that box to Delaware Chicken Farm, that was the first time I've had a matzah, and it has to be years.
It was a little stale, but it was still
I wouldn't know, no, because I haven't had one in a long time.
My brother...
I used to get it fresh right out of the oven. There was a place, bakery, when I lived in New York, and we used to go there, and these were guys that were masters at making them, and couldn't be any better coming right out of the oven, man. It was just like a fresh hot bagel.
Was that Straits matzah? STREITS?
I'm not sure the name of it. I mean, there was a factory that produced matzahs, I guess, for most of the city of New York, and very, very famous. But you could stop in there and get them fresh, and it was always great. Yeah,
it's good stuff. I do love a good matzah. I love it with chopped liver. I like it with cream cheese in the morning. I like it with plain butter. These days, I just won't eat too much of it. And Passover is the perfect holiday. I hate to use that 4-letter word, keto. If you're on a keto diet, I mean, Passover is right up the alley, because you're not going to be having much in the way of starches, carbs, or bread. So, all right, everybody, enjoy. If you are celebrating is it Sezon Pesach? I see Joanne's on there. I've never heard that expression.
Never, ever. But good for her.
I don't know what that is. I always said Chag Sameach and happy Passover. And we'll see everybody tomorrow. Come celebrate with pizza if you're in the neighborhood at the Fountains. Stromboli Pizza, 1 o'clock. We're going to have a good time there. Until then, enjoy every matzah with bitter herbs and chorosis sandwich.